trying strange things in a bad way, in a good way. What if everything you were taught about hard work is only half the truth? I grew up believing that if you resting, you are failing behind. That rest is something you earn, not something you need. That the harder you push, the further you get. It took me over 30 years to realize that belief was quietly costing me everything. Quick hello before we get into it. If this is your first time here, my name is Eugene and welcome to my channel. Glad you found this. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. That genuinely means something. And now, let's get into it. I grew up in a small village in Ukraine. And village has its own rules. You wake up early, you work, you don't stop until the work is done. My parents lived by this, and they raised me by it too. School, chores, helping around the house, and as I got older, I helped my father. My dad made his living manufacturing and installing concrete gravestones. Heavy and physical exhausting work. I started helping him around 15 probably, and I remember thinking, this is what effort looks like? This is what it means to earn something? My father used to tell me, study hard, work with your head, not with your hands, and I took it seriously. But one thing nobody said, not once, was that rest is part of the work. That recovery isn't laziness, that slowing down might actually be how you go further. And winter was my favorite season, not because of the snow, but because in winter you could finally stop. You could eat what you had grown and stored through the year, and just breathe. That feeling of permission to rest only came once a year, and even then it felt like borrowed time. I finished school and went to study architecture. I loved it, genuinely. Late nights, project deadlines, pushing to get the highest grade. I worked hard because that's what I knew how to do. And in my parents' eyes, I was going exactly what I was supposed to. But somewhere near the end of my studies, I started noticing something uncomfortable. The students who got the best grades weren't always the ones building the most interesting career. The ones who were experimenting, failing, trying strange things in a good way, of course, they were moving differently. Here's what research actually shows. Across industries, the correlation between grades and job performance is modest in the first year after college and becomes almost irrelevant within a few years. And for example, at Google, once employees are 2 or 3 years out of college, their grades have no bearing on their performance at all. And there is a deeper reason for this. Getting straight A's requires conformity. Having an influential career demands originality. The system rewards people who follow the rules perfectly, but the life rewards people who learn to bend them thoughtfully. And I want to repeat it. The system rewards people who follow the rules perfectly, but the life rewards people who learn to bend them thoughtfully. Nobody taught me that. Nobody taught me that failing is data, not shame. That switching direction isn't weakness, it's intelligence. That you can study one thing and build a life in something completely different, and that's not a mistake. Just do it. In 2019, I did something unusual for me. I went on holiday abroad to the sea. It was only the second time in my life I have done that. I went to Trieste in Italy, and what I saw there quietly broke something in my worldview. Older people on the beach in the morning, not rushing, not checking phones, sitting with friends over lunch for 2 hours, talking, laughing, not performing productivity, just living. I grew up watching my grandmother start working in the garden before I even woke up and finish after dark. That was the model I had. That was what a good life looked like. But in Trieste I thought, what if that's not the only way? What if in the 21st century there are enough opportunities to live differently, not lazily, but intentionally, slowly, with space for small joys? It wasn't a revelation, it was more like a crack in my glass. The picture I had of how life was supposed to work is started to feel incomplete. Here's the thing, that instinct I had in Trieste, it turns out it's backed by decades of research. The myth that more hours equal more output is economically illiterate. Evidence from various industries tells a consistent story. Overwork leads to burnout, which diminished productivity in the short terms and inflict lasting economic damage long terms. Rest is not the same as idleness. It's a productive recovery process. And the numbers are stark. Teams operating under chronic burnout shows 18 to 20% lower productivity. A 2025 Swedish study found that 2 years after clinical burnout diagnosis, individuals suffering a performance 20% earning loss, economic scarring that doesn't fully heal. But here's what really shifted my thinking. It's not just about working less, it's about using the time you protect wisely. Because working hard and working smart are not the same thing, and the data on planning makes it impossible to ignore. A study by psychologist Dr. Gail Matthews found that people who wrote down their goals, created action steps, and shared weekly progress with their friends successfully achieved their goals 76% of the time, compared to only 43% for those who kept their goals unwritten. That's not a small difference. That's the gap between a coin flip and a real strategy. And when researcher Tom Codley spent 5 years studying the daily habits of wealthy and struggling individuals, he found one of the starkest contrasts in how they spent their time. 76% of millionaires in his study dedicated to at least 30 minutes daily to planning their goals, and only 7% of those struggling financially did the same. There are 1440 minutes in each day. After work, sleep, eating and family, most people have around 240 minutes left. And it is what you do with those 240 minutes that separates the one life trajectory from another. The wealthy weren't just working harder, they were thinking about where they were going, regularly, deliberately, before the day shelved them whole. And nobody taught me this. I was taught to work, not to plan, not to reflect, not to ask, is this the right direction or just the familiar one? And trust me, I am not saying stop working hard. Hard work shaped me and I don't regret any of it. But I am learning, slowly, but learning how to separate efforts from exhaustion. To see rest not as a reward I haven't earned yet, but as something built into the process. The world is more interesting and more full of possibilities than the one I was shown growing up. And this is not a criticism of where I came from, it's just the truth of what I've seen since I left. You don't have to work yourself to the bone to deserve a good life. You don't have to follow the exact path you started on. You don't have to wait the winter to finally breathe. I'm still learning some of this. Probably will be for years. But I think that's worth talking about out loud and honestly. If you made it this far, thank you, genuinely. And if my English has been slightly painful to listen to, I'm working on it. It's either get better or learn to love the accent. And honestly, I'm not sure which one is happening faster. And if this video gave you something, a like and a subscribe help more than you had think. And leave a comment, even one word. I will read every single one. Thank you and see you next time.